Welcome back. Here we are once again at the district court. We've gathered the clues, and I still have no idea what happened with this murder. We're going to have to blunder through it. It's worked in the past. It's worked well, so we shall see how it plays out. It's not going to be good, is it? It's not going to be good. All right, so February 23rd, 9:34 a.m., district court, defendant lobby, number 2. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? I got quite a bit of evidence, but still no idea. Frankly, there are still a lot of grey areas. It's like even Pheonix is like, I don't have a clue. Or rather, the whole thing is one big grey area. Yeah. Don't worry about me. No matter what the outcome, I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? The defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Sky, you remind me a lot of Mia. Yeah, Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her. And that is, you've got weird uniform on. You're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. My first trial without a Fey helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. Will you? You said you could come in with me. Didn't even ask. February 23rd, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 9. Number 9? Oh, yes, number 9. Yes. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in the courtroom since his trial. I thought it said last year, but alright. I hope that personal feelings will not be part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow. He's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Starr, to the stand. The cough-up queen? Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Oh, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down. And for you, I have a Fiesta bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? And you, sir? Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It's too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? This is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name, profession, now. Me? The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Hurry it up. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. That's lovely, lovely. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. Huh. What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Mr. Starr was a detective? Said Mr. Ah! I know who you are. Cough up. Cough up, Queen Angel Starr, Your Honor. Long time no see. Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Starr. Just who is this lady? I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor's spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of A block in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness, and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Parking lot floor plans added to the court record. Okay. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. Seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr. Wait, are they talking about me? Here we go. Maybe start to understand what's been going on. Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend. How touching. As you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. 'Tis but a scratch. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. May I? Okay. Alright then. Let's see. Wow, I've got a weird thing pop up on Steam. Is Steam gone down or something? They just said my friend's network is unavailable. Like, okay. Why? Okay, that's very strange. No idea. Steam just being very, very, very weird there for some reason. It just popped up randomly in front of like my recording software. So it's like, hello. Bit odd. Right, so. Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. What do you mean by that? That's got me like, what do you mean? How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime. Yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to raising inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. But if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. So you've actually got an agenda. Laid off? She was fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Yeah, we've only got your word on that. Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr. That's suspicious, straight off. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend. Who's your boyfriend? This boyfriend. He's the detective? Not that boyfriend, the security guard. Okay. That boyfriend? You have several? Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot, in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. So now I'm starting to suspect this boyfriend. Because if she's got an agenda, maybe she coerced the boyfriend to do it, and then they framed Lana, but why is Lana going along with it? That's the bit that doesn't make sense in that. Why is she going along with it? Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in the B block. So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. She did say she saw it through the fence, so yeah. When I sensed something, perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. But I'll do that as well. Try and get as much out as here as we can. You sensed something. So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder? It felt like... How would you say... Oh yes. It was like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds. I have no idea what that means. Speaking of a detective's intuition... Wasn't the victim Mr. Bruce Goodman... Bruce Goodman, also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese. A young cheese? A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn. Then I must be hard yellowed and sharp as a tack. Yeah, the odor of an old cheese to match. In any case, that's a bit rude. There, in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. It is but a scratch. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. Don't smile like that. Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend. When I sensed something, perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Right, so there we go. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. We're just basically going to press her on everything, by the way. By garish car, you mean... Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes. Mr. Edgeworth's? Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it? Indeed it was. Oh, yes, it was a knife, yes. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you are sure it was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. 30 feet, you say? Is she telling the truth? If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. Thank you, Pheonix. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, Rocky. Huh? Rocky? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism? I may be regulated to the lowly post of lunch lady. Post, yep. But my instincts are honed. A photograph. You took this? Oh, great. The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap! I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Why? Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. That's one of the other ones, yeah? Well, this is most certainly the defendant. Crime photo edit. How do we get around that one? Uh-oh. That is unmistakably Lana Skye. It's not a picture of her committing the crime, though. So, So what was the defendant doing at the time? The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all. Yes, that's about right. Prosecutors are, by nature, very well versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set. You can't testify as to her ability to kill an egg. I mean, a person. Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor. So, the defendant was holding a knife. What then? Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise the knife to strike, no? The defense has a point. Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late. Too late? Yes. The next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. I see. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before anything else. Scientifically speaking, flawless. Sounds pretty fatal. Blah 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 blah. Usual stuff. Somehow his knew a day like this would come. Right, so we need evidence now, don't we? So the only thing I can think of is like either the knife or the picture, because like there's no proof that she is actually because there's no prints on it. So I was expecting something to come out about like she was holding it, and then be like, well, where's the fingerprints gone? That's what I was going towards. So the only thing I can think of is like the photo is clearly like let's actually get close and look on here. The photo is clearly after the crime because there's blood on the jacket. So that's the only thing I can think of. So when's the best time to present this? So I'm on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend. When I sensed something, perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a Garish Car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Maybe now? Maybe? Objection! And you witnessed this. You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with the knife. As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that's a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took at the very moment of the crime, is it not? And why is Miss Skye not holding a knife? Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever feeble mind, Mr. Wright. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. Objection! And how can you tell that? Blood splatter. Well, that's what I was using as a way to... You've used what I was thinking against me. Huh? See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat? But it's a black and white photograph. Ah, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, I was thinking it was blood and it... Alright, fine. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem. Except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse? You've got a better idea. Objection! Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it. If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch for the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understand it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. How do you know?
Objection!
Premeditated? How do you know? Oh, that's weird. Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in the photograph. Well... Oh yeah, she's wearing gloves, isn't she? There goes my fingerprint idea. Yeah. So, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? They look like normal, regular gloves to me, but alright. Ah. It was not premeditated. She would not be wearing those gloves. Oh, yes, gloves, yes. These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder. A serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. The murder was planned, and the rubber gloves prove it. Presser on it? What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves? Like driving gloves? The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. Why am I only learning about this now? They were rubber gloves, of the kind used for autopsies. But this... What? See, the moment I'm on their side, it's like she just comes across as very, very guilty. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do the murder. The murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. Yeah. At this point, I'm on their side. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime. Obsessive, I'm sorry. They took you off the force, Miss Starr. This is bad. It's got them thinking this was all planned. If she can prove this claim, the trial's already over. Gotta think of a way to show that it wasn't premeditated. It's only a flesh wound. Alright, we got the idea. Yeah. Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. Right, let's look at the evidence. What we've got here. Don't need that. The ID, I can't see that being relevant. The king of prosecutors cannot be relevant at this point. Murder weapon, usually in Edgeworth's toolbox. Traces of victim's blood. Yeah, no, wait. If it was premeditated, why would she be dependent on Edgeworth's toolbox? On Edgeworth's knife? If she premeditated this, she would have to know 100% that it was definitely there. Right? It's the only thing I can think of. It's like, it could have not been there and that would have screwed the entire thing. Right? I don't know. I'm gonna go with that. It's all I can think of right now. Lunchbox. I need it on the news statement, don't I? The rubber gloves prove it. Let's present. There goes nothing. Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell box lunches for a living, you know. It's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. Oh, that is definitely his knife. Yes, I was there. What? What's with this case? A bloody murder weapon, a red car, belonging to the prosecutor there. The defendant is the chief prosecutor of the red knife. Mommy, are prosecutors bad people? The defense has a request. Ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, Rocky? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, Why would she not also prepare the most important thing? The murder weapon? I'm so happy right now. Oh. This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car? Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. Oh yes, definitely don't forget the weapon. Order, order, order? Great, now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. What? How do you come to that conclusion? Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Pwah. The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The prosecution couldn't care less if it was premeditated or not. Right. Time to rant again about this. It's like, if you could care less, that means you still care. Because there is still a little bit of caring left. Alright? So if you couldn't care less, you couldn't care at all. It's like on a scale of like 1 to 10 of caring, right? No, we'll make it 0 to 10 of caring. If you're at 0, you couldn't care less. If you're at 1, you could care less, so you still care. Simple as that. You still care. And the only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecutor needs to prove, nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing... I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now? Right. So I think this is actually a lovely place to end this part here right now. And we'll get into this new version of her testimony in the next part, I think. So we shall see you then. Ta-ta. For now.